Welcome, my friends, to the new and improved Werewolf Weekly Show, formerly known as the Werewolf Wednesday Show. The opening will be changed to reflect the title change. My name is Seth. I'm obsessed with werewolves, and this is wow, dumb brain fart. This is the Werewolf Weekly Show, your number one source for all things werewolves. Tonight, I will be talking about Howling III, the Marsupials. I should be joined by Ray shortly. So I will be talking about the very weird and yet oddly ambitious sequel that either people fully love or because it's weird, or they fully hate because it's technically a bad movie. So I'll just kind of get into it as I wait for Ray. Um, Howling III The Marsupials is written and directed by Philippe Mora, who had previously directed Howling 2, Your Sister is a Werewolf. Basically, from my understanding, is that he was a bit ashamed of how sleazy the second film was, and so he wanted another chance. He wanted another crack at this franchise, and he wanted to do a very PG-13 story-driven film, and that's what this is. The opening credits claim that it's based on the novels from Gary Brandner, but this film has literally nothing in common whatsoever with any of the books, especially the Howling 3. So I find that interesting. um, the synopsis is that, and I'm going to try to explain this, but it's kind of hard to sum up because there's so many different characters and so many different things going on. So the basic bare bones of it is that following the sighting of a werewolf in Serbia, a scientist looking to prove the existence of the creatures heads to Australia, where his grandfather had once filmed the execution of a marsupial in 1905. Meanwhile, a young marsupial flees from her tribe and falls in love with an assistant director of a horror film, while members of her tribe seek to bring her back home. This leads to a collision course between the scientist and the werewolves. Obviously, there's a lot more to it than that because uh, there's a collection of characters that eventually I'll, you know, come together. There's a Russian ballerina who is a traditional werewolf, traditional lycanthrope, and I really enjoyed that element of it. I like the idea that this this one kind of is really, I think, the only one in the series that really kind of like the establishes like basically rougarous, which are, shapeshifters similar to werewolves, but they can take other forms. And in this case, the marsupial is the also known as the Tasmanian tiger, or also known as the Tasmanian wolf. Getting into it. Um, Pros and cons. So my pros for this film really kind of falls on the story that they attempt to tell. Again, I think this is like a film that is very ambitious with what it's trying to do, and there's a lot of good ideas in there. However, to kind of go to the cons real quick, uh, the problem is the execution of the movie. But anyway, sticking to the pros, I really liked the concept behind this film. I liked this. I actually did enjoy. I did really like the character of Beckmeyer, who is the scientist uh, trying to prove the existence of werewolves. I liked the character of Jerboa, uh, and the fact that she's fleeing from her very uh, uh, from her own like tribe, which is mostly females, but then there's Philo, who is like sort of the alpha of the pack, and she tries to flee from him. They try to get her back, and then meanwhile you have this Russian ballerina who's more of a traditional werewolf, who is who's looking for love, and so I do like some of the characters. Not all the acting is great. Some of the dialogue isn't great. Some of the filmmaking is weird. Uh, there's one particular scene in early on where uh, uh, Beckmeyer tries to he's talking to, I guess, the president, and there's clearly no one else in the room with them, but they look at the camera and they're like, "Whoa, why are we being filmed?" And it was weird. It's a very weirdly made film, but I think to stick with the pros, I think it does have some things going for it, at least in terms of the ideas presented in it and the story itself, and the fact that it's really about werewolves. It's werewolves first, as opposed to the other ones, which were more about like um, the humans. Uh, and it's very, it's very much um, sticking to its own lore. Um, they do talk about the pretty much the extinction of the Tasmanian tigers, aka Tasmanian wolves, uh, back in the 1930s. There's one moment where I think there's actually a couple moments where Jerboa is on the set of Shapeshifters 8, and she, sees a werewolf in action for the film, and she's like, no, it's not like that. And then he takes her to a movie, and she sees a transformation, and she's like, no, that's not how it is. And I do appreciate the fact that they that they kind of called out the idea of the full moon being the thing that causes them to transform, because that, as the first Howling movie pointed out, with Dick Miller's character, is that that's basically Hollywood stuff. Tales of werewolves prior to that in human history, there's many different things, whether it be curses, magical pelts or belts, pacts with the devil, stuff like that. The full moon thing just came from films, pretty much. And looks like Ray is here, so I'm going to bring him to the screen. And good evening, sir. How are you doing today?
So I would just assume that's based on her own tribe, and her not just all werewolves all over the world, because they're a specific breed, being the Tasmanian werewolf, whatever the fucks. You know what I mean? Like that could be there. They could be other werewolves that are just in hiding, where you could connect this to the other movies, if you will, because they're just based off the Australian Tasmanian tigers. Just saying. Even though the
Right,
Russian
right,
one, but she could be a descendant of that also.
right. Well, I mean, the full moon thing wasn't really a thing in any of the films, I don't believe.
Full moon
Because I
fever,
know,
buddy. Come on.
no, as far as like the Howling films,
No, I know. I just got full moon fever.
there is actually a movie called Full Moon Fever, and it's not very good.
It's a Tom
Um,
Petty album too, isn't it?
oh, is it?
I think
I'm
so.
not. Yeah.
I'll look. I'm pretty sure it is. Yes,
So
it is.
it's glorious that you're here, because you lost a bet, and I'm a dick.
I want to. It's not a bet.
Oh, okay. Well,
I
what
said
was
that if we get, I made a deal. If we get to
a deal? Okay.
71,000, we are on the cusp of 81,000. Like we will probably get there today. So it's kismet.
Oh, Do you want to make another deal?
No, no, because I expect it to happen.
Yeah. So, while you're here, you're gonna be just talking about the film, and then you're gonna bounce before I start
Yeah, I'm
moving
not
on.
going to stay for comments. I
Yeah.
cannot handle the guy who talks about Scream and different robes and all that shit. So I can't handle that.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
no offense to that guy, just it just makes me crazy.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So yeah, I'm sorry I'm late. I was taking a shit, so it couldn't be helped. Um,
Yeah. That's part of being human, buddy. So
absolutely.
let me ask you this. I know
Okay.
you don't like this movie. Do you have any pros whatsoever? Is there anything that you think is maybe okay at best, even though you overall don't enjoy the film?
No, not really. And it's not really about my enjoyment of the film or how I feel about it. It's really poorly made. It's
Yeah,
all over the place. I mean, the makeup, the looks of the wolves, and I understand budgeting and all that stuff, but the nun werewolves look like rubber masks,
yeah,
stuff like that. Like I liked uh I liked one character in the whole movie. And well, not it was two characters, and it was the doctor and his buddy.
yeah.
Uh, that was probably the best part of the movie. And then there was one good scene where the doctor's like being seduced by his eventual bride and almost kisses her and stops himself. I'm like, that's kind of a nice scene.
Mhm.
But the movie is so disjointed, and like the effects and the just such odd behavior of we see the birth of a child, and it like crawls up her body to get into the fucking pouch. It's just so weird. I don't know. It's just so weird. And they tried to pull the ending of the original Howling movie, and I didn't really appreciate that because I actually liked one of the things I was like, okay, we're gonna get kind of a happy ending, but no, they tried to do the same thing the Howling did, almost exactly the same way. Um,
That
I don't.
is that is kind of weird too. Like speaking of the ending, because like at that point, like you're almost in a way kind of like expecting that happy ending
Mhm.
with everyone, and then they make like Jerboa and Creepy Donnie kind of like be at each other's throats, and then because of the strobing lights, she transforms in front of everyone. Like it's weird. Um, but I thought the movie was weird too, because like you said, it's very disjointed. But like especially with like the last like what maybe half hour where they like really jump through time. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I felt like it should have just closed out in the present of when everything else was kind of taking place. Um,
No, they jump like 18 years or
yeah,
something like that.
yeah,
And like because they're like right after the dad by the way, a guy sleeping in a tent with a rocket launcher, come on. That's fucking retarded. Oops, sorry, ridiculous. That was I'm like I forgot that even happened. I'm like, "Oh my god, that's not I don't know what military and what world they could sleep with rocket launchers in their bed or their tent."
yeah,
But after that scene, like that is basically the end of the movie as we know it, because the rest is them building that little not society but homestead, and then Donnie and Trobola or whatever her name is run away to go back to Hollywood because they want to make movies or whatever, and the weird thing is the kids just morph from being a marsupial or whatever, werewolf looking thing into regular children. I actually like the scene where he's giving the doctor guy is giving a lecture, and one of the kids is that they're Donnie's kid. I actually like that. I was like, that's kind of nice, but I don't know. It's really disjointed. Parts of it reminds me of a really bad Bruno Mattei Italian film. Just because it's all over the place and it's and sometimes it's nonsensical. Characters pop up out of nowhere, and like that guy with the beard, can't remember his name.
Candy.
Candy, yeah, yeah, him. I liked him actually, but like he popped up out of nowhere suddenly at uh uh Flo, which of course is wolf
Yeah.
backwards.
Yep.
And I was like, where the fuck did he come from? Like I hadn't seen him before, you know. I don't know, man. I don't hate it as much as I did the first couple times I saw it because I tried to go in and watch it and try to be like fair about it. You know what I mean? Like I don't think it's the worst like werewolf movie ever because I'm sure there are worse. Werewolf Castle's much worse. Um, and honestly, I think going back, if I can access that part of my memory, I think Howling 7 might be worse.
Oh, it is. This is not the worst of the
Yeah.
franchise.
So I don't. I'm not going to sit here. It's fun playing the. Oh, I hate Howling 3 and I don't want to see it. I don't want to watch it. I don't think or talk about it. I don't think I'm going to probably watch it ever again. But I'm not like. I don't know. I don't hate it. It's not a great movie by any means. If I had to just casually rank it on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give it like a 3 or 4, somewhere around there,
Mhm.
because it's just like some of the effects are so off-putting, and it's so strange that the what's his name Donnie wanted to have sex with a woman with a like straight up underbelly of hair. Like that's very bizarre. Like she doesn't want to take her bra off, cool, but you can still see all the hair. It's like I've never met a girl, you know,
Yeah.
that's ever had hair above her panty line. So like I don't know, it's really strange. Uh I would love it if you had other questions for me so I could try to answer them because I'm just kind of shooting off the hip, like the way you do things. I think one of my biggest problems is how all over the place the effects were too. One of the biggest problems, like the makeup effects. Those nuns looked so stupid. Like I hated. Every time I saw them, I was like, just pull the mask off because it does not look anything like
What?
the werewolves didn't look great, but they look better than the nun werewolves, which I still don't understand the point of them. You know, because they took her back to the camp and then disappeared, and then they ended up in a cave watching somehow with power watching that award show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the problem with effects too is like in even like the werewolf designs, which I was going to say for a little bit later, but uh, they're not very consistent. Like
No.
the nun werewolves or marsupials, they don't look anything like when Philo transforms in the hospital. You know,
Mm.
they look completely different from each other, and they're supposed
No,
to
they
be.
look more ferocious. Philo or whatever looks way more ferocious than those
Yeah,
dumb. That's obviously a budget problem, you
yeah.
know, because they put them all in a nun outfit and they just had the face covering. I know that's probably one of the biggest issues was budgeting
Oh yeah, for sure. Well,
because they
and
blew their load on that movie Werewolf with a giant mouth, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So uh, obviously, I'm with you on that. The just going through my topics here, like uh, werewolf design impressions, very inconsistent. Did not look good whatsoever. Like you said, some look like
Mm.
masks. Some just look like just terrible effects. Um, werewolf
It's
act.
hard to beat. It's hard to beat the work done in the first movie when you look at this franchise. There has not been a good werewolf that looked as good as the original Howling werewolves as far as this franchise goes.
Yeah, I think probably the closest, and they're not even that great, is probably Howling Reborn.
Mm.
Even though I don't really care for that movie. I thought the werewolves looked okay, like when they were fully transformed.
Hmm.
I don't know if you remember that
I,
one.
I remember, kind of remember them,
Yeah,
but yeah, that's one I haven't watched since it came out.
yeah. Uh, werewolf action. I mean, what did you think of some of the werewolf action? Obviously, it was PG-13, so it was a lot of like
It was
cutaways.
it was kind of rough, but like I like some of the idea, like when Candy transformed to risk his life for them. I thought that was kind of cool, but there's not like the action itself is almost not there. You get to see a couple of shots of the werewolves attacking, but like they look very much like puppets because you don't see the full werewolf really, and there really wasn't that much action to begin with. But I liked what they were trying to do, with Philo going back to basically, sorry, save his daughter's life or whatever she was to him.
Yeah,
Save them and sacrifice himself. And then, same thing with Candy. I liked the one scene I really liked was his burnt up corpse attacking them. I was like, yeah, get him, Candy, even after death. But yeah,
yeah,
there wasn't much action really at all, and because like the scenes with them being in the trance in the chair was weird, but like, yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
well, yeah, well, because one, I think it was affected by its PG-13 rating, but also, it's
That's thanks to
also,
the Howling too.
yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's also with the fact that the story isn't really like it's very much about werewolves, but it's about like characters as well. Even I'm not saying this is a well written character driven movie, but it's not about the werewolf attacks. It's about a scientist trying to prove the existence of werewolves and interacting with them and kind of getting to know the ins and outs
Well,
of.
that and it's a love story at its core as well.
Mhm.
Not just the Donnie and Chernobyl or whatever her name is, but eventually the doctor and the Russian girl. I got a
Yep.
burp. I'm just on. Oh, sorry. I thought I had a burp, but it turned out to be on. Anyway,
Yeah. Uh, werewolf sound effects. Anything stand out to you or?
not really.
Yeah.
I can't even remember what they sounded like. Uh, I don't. Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I can't even remember.
Yeah, they were just more like basic. I think.
Hmm.
Um, Now here's the interesting one because as I was saying before you jumped on, I think this film has like a lot of ambition with what it's trying to do. Um, the problem is the execution of it. So it's got good ideas in there. What did you think of the werewolf lore? Like the lore that they establish here between uh, werewolves and other types of rougarous and that type of stuff. Did you find any of that interesting
See,
at all?
that's one of the things I was thinking about. The lore is cool. I liked seeing the footage from 1913 or whatever, 33, whatever year it was.
Hmm.
But like, for this world, I still think that they're maybe not werewolves because they, like I says, based on the Tasmanian tiger, it could be just some form of shapeshifter, especially since, you know what I mean? Like,
Right. That's why I say Rougarou because Rougarous are
exactly. So it's almost, like it's not a werewolf movie. I mean, they're
right.
half kangaroo.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what I like to a certain degree about the movie is that it not only has the marsupials, so it's like a cousin of a werewolf, if
Hmm.
you will, but then you also have with the Russian, you have an actual werewolf. Um, and I felt like the lore there was a lot of good ideas in this movie. Like it makes me think of like something I've heard people say that I completely agree with. Like if you're gonna remake a movie, don't remake a great movie, remake a flawed movie. I feel like this movie would be ripe for a remake with someone who could take some of the ideas and make something better out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the only problem with that is people will be like, "Why the fuck are they remaking the third one of all the Howling movies to remake? Why that
Yeah,
one?"
yeah,
But yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that'd be funny though. Hollywood announces the Howling 3 remake. Why?
yeah.
Why not?
Well, I only say that because I feel like there is some good stuff in there. You know what I mean?
No, like I said, there's at the core of it, you've got kind of like two lovers on the run, young lovers on the run, which Halloween Ends was kind of like that in a way, and then you got the whole tribe aspect, which I actually like that there was a tribe of werewolves, and then you've got the doctor who is being earnest and wanting to know more, while the military and the president wants to wipe them out. So there's a lot going on, and it's an ambitious uh, movie, and I'm sure I don't know what the budget was. I was actually going to look that up because I was curious. I am going to look it up, but like it's I don't know. I feel like this would make an interesting television series. I would just take off the Howling title because there's a lot to tell.
Oh, for sure.
Uh, it says 2 million or 1 million was the budget.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Yeah. Probably
Okay.
the latter.
Yeah.
So on a scale of 1 through 10, how creepy was Donnie?
I don't know. I don't think it was that creepy. Like I'd say maybe a 5 or a 6. Not like somewhere in the middle, because like I think about he starts off super creepy. Like he legit is full off running after her in the beginning when he meets Caesar.
Yeah.
It's like what is this guy doing? And then like eventually they kind of fall for each other in that scene where she gets hit by the car or whatever happens. I can't remember exactly what happens. He's all in there for her. And I mean, and then he's gonna get some extra creep points for liking a hairy chested woman. And but he's also kind of a good guy because he looked past her. I don't know how to say the words. Her deformity in a way, her freak traits, with the pouch and and the baby's beautiful, even though the baby looked like a skinned dog.
Yeah.
So I mean, overall, he's not that bad. He turns into a complete dickhead by the end, but that's Hollywood for you. So
Yeah, I always thought it was so goofy. Like you see him drive his car, and then he spots her sitting on a bench, and he just immediately pulls over, and then he just gets out and starts running after her.
he just takes off in a full fucking run. Like he's like running a fucking marathon to get to her. It's like, whoa, dude, calm down.
Yeah.
There's better ways to go about this.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, like with this movie, is like when I first watched it back in the day, I completely hated it, like with a passion, and I put it because I bought it blind and I put it back on my shelf, and it sat there for years. And then a couple years back, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it another try. And for some reason, I like the second time around, like I was kind of fine with it. I'm like, wow, this is a bad movie, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and it's almost is it so bad it's good? No, it's not. But there's some interesting parts about this movie, and the director is brilliant, by the way. Not the director of the film, but the director directing the film that they're making during the film.
The director of Shapeshifters 8.
Yes.
Vivacious.
And why aren't those movies real? I'm waiting for a Shapeshifters movie so we can get a whole
right?
franchise.
Right? I think Philippe Mora should do them.
We can hire Donnie.
Yeah. Yeah, so you got any other overall thoughts on the film? I think we're kind of in agreement on quite a bit of stuff here. One, that it's ambitious but poorly executed. It's got some likable characters, especially Beckmeyer, the scientist.
That's at Beckmeyer,
yeah. Yeah, he's my favorite character. Like every time I watch it, I feel like he's the best of the bunch, you know.
He's the most interesting too.
Yeah,
Like the scenes where he's got Philo in the room, and I like when he's on camera making all those faces, you know. But like it's more interesting, and I know they can't just follow him for the entire movie, but between him and the other guy whose name I can't remember, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on, and I like that aspect of the movie. I didn't really give a shit about Donnie and Chernobyl or whatever her name is. I'm gonna call her Chernobyl. Um,
Jerboa.
well, yeah, same thing. No, but yeah, I mean that whole was the setup and parts of the movie, but I really enjoyed. And then the weird thing is like the way they introduced characters also is jarring. When they introduced the ballet woman, the Russian dancer, that
Yeah,
was like popped right in there like Jesus. Okay, so we got new characters. And
yeah,
then of course she transforms during a ballet rehearsal, and it's like the fuck just happened? You know, like it's some of it's jarring. I think some better editing, a couple extra scenes may have made the movie a little bit better. But and the other thing is like there's always that question when I watch a horror movie, is this really a horror movie? Because this doesn't feel like a horror movie almost at all. You know, it's
yeah. No, it's really not, because again, because it doesn't really have an emphasis on the on the werewolf action like we talked about. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because it's more about understanding the creatures themselves, and it's
Mm-mm,
definitely, you know, a lighter tone film, um, but it doesn't really do horror at all.
mm-mm. Yeah, there's no really foreboding. Not there's no I'm on my edge of my seat. This is a movie also without atmosphere,
Yeah,
and the score isn't great. There's also things I noticed, like little weird sound effects, like like I'm like, what the fuck is that for? You know, just it's just a strange movie. Is kind of like how I would describe. It's just a really strange movie, and yeah, I gotta tell you, the birthing scene is so fucking weird, especially since they spend a lot of like they talk about they wanted to clean this one up because Howling 2 was very kind of
sleazy.
dirty,
Yeah,
you know, and it was. I mean, there was a kind of an orgy scene, and even the Howling was kind of a dirty movie, and this one was PG or PG-13 or whatever it was.
yeah.
But I mean, they showed a baby being birthed and hanging out by a vagina for a good long time. I'm sitting there watching like the vagina's right there. This is just as dirty as the other ones. It's just covered with her fucking peach fuzz, like thick ass peach fuzz, but still,
Yeah,
you know, I don't know. I don't really hate this movie. I don't think I really ever did. I just like, you know, the fun of it. It has a great cover, but it's also false advertising. You know, I can put this back now too. But, yeah, I don't know. It's fine. It's just a weird ass movie. Strange.
it's very weird, and yeah. Again, it's got some good stuff in it, good ideas, good nuggets of ideas, but the direction and editing, and I don't like the score whatsoever. You know,
Yeah, it's weird.
I'm so big on scores, and this is just it's out of place, a little jarring. Like you said, some of the sound effects are weird. Um,
They're
special,
out of place.
yeah,
It's like, why was
special,
that there? Sorry.
yeah, and then like special effects are not very good, not very consistent.
Yeah.
Uh, the transformation, the transformations that we see, like with the Russian lady, it's so weird because you have like her transforming as she's spinning, and then you have people running away, but then you have other people who are still doing the
They're fucking locked in, man. Those are what we call professional dancers. They don't give a fuck if they're going to get attacked by a weird werewolf lady. They're
they're
locked in.
pros. They're pros, so we'll give
They're
them that.
pros, man.
Yeah,
They're like, okay, you know what? I've given my life to dance, and I'm going to give my life to dance. So
Yeah,
You
and
know?
then like when Philo transforms in the room, it's just at first I was like, when he was starting to transform, I was like, the wolf look was okay, but then when the snout kept
Yeah.
like extending, I was like, okay, this looks fucking terrible.
Well,
But
I
like,
mean, I get why they did that, paying more attention to this because of the Tasmanian tiger's snout is really long.
that is
So
true. Yeah,
yeah, it makes sense to why as they did that because like the guy who played Philo or whatever, I don't know his name offhand, but like I bet they could have made a rad ass like Wolfman looking
oh
makeup
yeah,
on him. Because
yeah,
I watched Wolfman last night, the Wolfman from 1941, and of course Curse the Werewolf last night. And I'm watching, I'm like, these are peak makeups for the Wolfman effect, in my opinion. Like I'm not even joking. Um, excuse me. Uh, what's his name? Oliver Reed looks so fucking cool in Curse of the Werewolf, in my opinion. And same thing. I don't like the snout look. I like the Wolf Man look more so. And then of course Lon Chaney Jr. legendary looks amazing. You know. By the way, that was the perfect pairing. I've never watched those two together back to back. And like I told you in the text, I'm like, holy shit, the endings are very similar, but it's the father. It's like that's heartbreaking. And I
mhm.
never really put all that together between the two. But the best part is 1941, 1961, then we get American Werewolf in London 1981, and it's
Yeah,
not got a same ending, but it's kind of similar,
right, right.
you know.
It's
And yeah. So anyway,
yeah. I actually I need to watch those back to back now that you mentioned that.
you do because like the one thing, okay, the Wolfman. I mean, it's brilliant. First of all, I'm not a big fan of werewolf movies, and I'm sorry to get off the topic here, but I watched those last night. I was like, I gotta talk about to Seth about these for a couple minutes at least. But Lon Chaney Jr.'s performance in The Wolfman is so good. It's
Oh
so
yeah,
good. Like he goes from being this suave, debonair kind of guy who, he's got this great confidence about him to a shell of a man by the end because he's afraid he's going to kill some people, and he did kill somebody. And I love that he hands his father the cane at the end,
hmm
and he's like, "Take it just in case" or whatever. And what happens. It's God, it's heartbreaking, and I don't know. I've seen The Wolfman dozens of times and never thought about how like he basically gave his father the weapon to kill him,
yeah.
you know. And then I watch Curse the Werewolf, and it's such a different movie because you got Oliver Reed. Basically, you start off with the French Marquis or whatever the fuck that asshole is, and then it shows how he's born and everything. That's all very unnecessary in my opinion, but like at the same time, I really really like it. And then of course you get to see him growing up through the ages and shit happening in the town around him, and he's being taken care of by this really nice family. And then of course all the shit goes down towards the end, and his father's got to make the ultimate sacrifice. Really, I mean, that's not a
Yeah.
sacrifice, but you know what I mean. And it's just like I watched, I'm like, fuck, man. After watching Wolfman, I'm like, that hits hard. That hits so hard. So yeah, Curse the Werewolf, man, that just like jumped up a bunch of places in my list of just horror movies in general after last night. So
Yeah, I need to rewatch that. It's been a while since I watched that, but
yeah, double feature that shit, bro.
yeah, I should.
Yeah,
I've
do
actually
that
been in
this
the mood
weekend.
for Universal.
So I watched Dracula last or before I got on here, and then I took a shit. So I'm going to watch the horror of Dracula whenever we're done. Oh, I'm going to watch Peacemaker first, of course.
Yeah, I
But
was gonna say
yeah,
as soon as I'm
but
done with this, Peacemaker.
I want to do. I'm going to watch Frankenstein and then the Curse of Frankenstein. I've never done these, the Hammer
Oh,
and Universals together like that. The
that's
Mummy and then
actually
the
pretty cool.
Mummy. So I'm
That's
going to
pretty
do
cool.
that this season, and I think like I want you to do this for our Hammer versus Universal show, so we can talk about the two. Like, oh, we'll do a segment on the Wolfman and Curse of the Werewolf, segment on Dracula and Horror Dracula, and
Yeah,
stuff like that. Because like watching these back to back, it's like fucking eyes open. Like never before when it comes to even Universal. I've seen the Wolfman, God, probably 25, 30 times, over the years. And like after watching it last night, sitting there thinking about it for a minute, it's like, okay, I need to watch Curse of the Werewolf now. And then watching that, like, holy shit, man, there are parallels to the movie, because I was like, oh, they're two different movies, but at the same time, they're kind of not. So, yeah, man, you got to do it. So that's what I want to do for when we get to the Universal Hammer stuff. Not necessarily a versus, but I want to discuss each movie or each big one, like the Frankenstein, Dracula, Werewolf, and then the Mummy, at least. So, I'm telling you, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love me for making you watch The Wolfman and Curse the Werewolf together.
Yeah, no, that's actually a great idea. I'm all in. I'm all in on that.
Oh, I knew you would be.
You know, like one point I was going to mention about Wolfman is like what you were talking about with the ending, with the tragic ending. It is all the more tragic because in the original film, you know, he's a guy with his whole life ahead of him. He's
Right.
kind of happy, and you know, he's you know trying to sneak into someone else's girlfriend's pants, and
Slide into her DMs. Right?
yeah. um but you know, the reality of what he is, you know, he's just so, you know, it's just it's a tragic tale, and I think Lon Chaney Jr. Absolutely just completely sells it. um
He's
and,
such an underrated actor.
yeah, and like I think he even takes it up a notch in Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman.
100%. I knew you were gonna say that, because I absolutely want to watch that again, because I was thinking about that. I'm like, I feel like Lon Chaney. First of all, I say he's underrated, but maybe he wasn't, because he got to play Dracula, son of Dracula, or Dracula as well, and
Mm,
he did a pretty good job there too. He's a really good actor, but like his performances as Larry Talbot are so fucking just superb, you know. And credit to Benicio del Toro, he did a great job for what he was given with that movie, and I like that movie. But fuck, man, there is nobody like Lon Chaney Jr. in that role. And so last year I watched the entire Universal Werewolf cycle from the Wolfman, you know, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, all the way up to, is it the Castle? No, what is it? What's the last one?
Abbott,
Not that one. No, I didn't watch those. There's something.
House of Dracula.
Is it House of Frankenstein or House of Dracula?
House of Frankenstein came first, and then House of Dracula after.
I watched all the way to House of Dracula, but like Lon Chaney's just really good, and when he plays the cursed figure as a werewolf, and always kind of on guard for everyone around him, that's when he's at his best.
Yeah.
You know, like that scene in The Wolfman where she was, let's just run away together. And he's like, oh no, you know, I can't do that. And then he sees and it's like, fuck, man. God, this movie hits hard. Forgot how good it is.
Yeah. Well, like the thing is, like his performance is what, like, because story wise, I'm not really a big fan of House of Frankenstein and House of Dracula.
No, neither am I.
There's some decent stuff in House of Frankenstein. House of Dracula, not so much.
No, the House of Dracula is kind of bad. Well, you can tell, sorry, but you can tell that they were outliving their welcome by that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to say Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman is peak, but the next movie after that is probably where it was the best. If I'm not mistaken, I have to look at my list because I can't remember how many there are.
Well, if you count Abbott and Costello, there's 5.
No, I don't count that.
Yeah, he was he only played Larry Talbot in the Wolfman, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, House of Dracula, or House of Frankenstein, and then House of Dracula, and then of course Abbott and Costello.
Would you stop? Sound like Nate over here with the Abbott and Costello madness.
Oh well, you know, I'm not like I don't like that side of the Universal stuff at all. Like it completely takes away from what they were. But and not to mention that, like, they completely forget continuity. Like the the fact that like uh, uh, Larry was cured at the end of House of Dracula, and then
Hmm.
he's in Abbott and Costello, and he's back to being the Wolfman again. Uh, but again, like I was gonna say though, like he's that consistent force for me. Like, cause he like every one of his performances as that character, he brings his A game. But I think his peak performance was Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. Um, and I especially loved, how they had Maleva back in it,
Hmm.
um, and him being with her for most of it until she just disappears from the film. I thought that was really cool. And like Frankenstein meets the Wolfman is like the only sequel where he has a scar from uh, when his dad killed him on his head. After that, they don't have that scar anymore.
We're at 81,000, by the way.
Awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait until we talk about the Universal Hammer stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna
So
be a
it's
lot
gonna
of
be
fun.
fun. Is there anything else you want to ask me about Howling 3?
No, I think we covered all the ground. I'm gonna probably there's not a lot of comments. I'm just gonna read some of the comments and then I'm gonna bounce off and watch Peacemaker. So
Yeah, I'm itching to watch Peacemaker.
yeah,
That's why I didn't want to stick around for the comments, but I'll stick around since there aren't many.
okay. Um, Obviously Sean Sheridan, always the first. Our friend from across the pond, as we say. Howling 3, terrible movie. The baby is just weird.
Yep.
Yep. I've watched up until 5. 5 was okay, not a movie I love, but miles better than 2, 3, and 4.
And I think you and I have always said that 5 is probably the best sequel of them all.
Hands down, it's my favorite sequel.
I'd say me too. That if so, like I do like 2 quite a bit because I know I like bad movies, but 5 is 2 is weird and wacky and got a lot of boobs, but 5's actually got a good story to it. It's got a great setting, and I like 5 quite a bit. It's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the setting, I actually really dig the score for it as well. Um,
Yeah, you would remember that. Me, not so much. I'll remember after I watch it again.
yeah. Um, but like I like the mystery who done it angle.
Yeah,
But
mm.
I thought the
Like a
character,
slasher.
yeah, and I
Yeah,
thought the characters were, obviously the acting wasn't the greatest, but the characters were actually not too bad
no,
for
they weren't bad. They weren't insufferable like some of these movies.
yeah. So I like 5 a lot. I'm looking forward to talking about that one. Horror Gang. Jackson says, "Hey, what's up? How's it
His
going?"
movie is available to watch on YouTube now.
Oh, what's it
Um,
called?
I don't remember what it's called offhand, but we can drop it in the comments.
Okay.
Actually, I can look. He just messaged me the other day about it. I feel bad because I haven't watched it. It's a short film on YouTube. Give me 1 second. Where there he is. It's called The Stillness. So it's available on YouTube. I'll drop it in the comments now, and it's only like 10 minutes long. But it's I think it's his first foray into making a movie. So yeah,
Awesome.
you can hear the music.
I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the comments here on Facebook, and I got to burp again. Go ahead.
Sean says, "I know you love werewolf movies, buddy, but God, this movie is too much." Yeah, but I mean, I know it's, I know it's like stupid to say something like this because it doesn't really justify it, but I have seen a lot worse than Howling 3. A lot worse than Howling 3 when it comes to werewolves, and especially within the Howling franchise. Uh, just wait till you get to New Moon Line Dancing. Uh, Billy Judd says, "Hi guys, how you doing?" He also says Eddie Quist has the longest transformation in the first movie.
And it's phenomenal.
It is phenomenal. Great effects, great everything. Uh, Joran says, yes, Howling 3 is so necessary because it's one of a kind. Nothing like that will be made again. It's so weird. It's wonderful in that way. And yes, it's bad, but I love it anyway. And the cover art is sweet AF.
This fucking cover art, man. I do actually really like this. That's what drew me to watch this in the first place.
Oh yeah,
It's really cool. The
yeah.
Howling, to its credit, all the first three movies have great cover art.
hmm I 100% agree with that. And yeah, like he says, it's one of those movies where like I hated it at first, but now it's like, okay, I understand it's weird. I know it's a bad movie. Like objectively, it's a bad movie, but there's something about it where it's like I can kind of have fun with it. You know what I mean?
Well, here's something for you. Howling 3 is better watched on its own. If you watch it shortly after watching Howling or the Howling 2, then it's
hmm
really just a piece of shit. And I think that might be the problem. I haven't watched the Howling yet this year. I was saving it for October.
hmm
Uh, because it's one of my favorites to watch in October, even though it pretty much takes place like closer to the summer. But anyway, so I just like, I got to watch Marsupials for the show. So I'm gonna go ahead and watch it, and it's better to watch it on its own because first of all, the Howling franchise, other than 1 and 2, really are it's a very disjointed franchise. Nothing really connects,
Yeah.
and it's almost like an anthology franchise, if you will. Different horror, different werewolf stories. So yeah, I would suggest not watching it in succession after 1 and 2.
Well, it's completely a standalone movie.
Yeah,
There is like one little line of reference where when Beckmeyer is asking, what's her name, Olga or whatever, uh, about where else there's werewolves, she goes, China, Africa, I think
L.A.
I think California.
Say
So
LA or something like that. Yeah,
yeah, so it was like kind of a reference to because the
yeah, but that's also like just saying that they're all over the world. That's how I took it anyway. You
yeah,
know,
but like the first Howlin' is set in California. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, but it's a very inconsistent franchise too. If you try to like connect all the dots, because like the werewolves are all different each movie.
hmm
I mean, even with the two that connect, 1 and 2, the werewolves in that look nothing like the werewolves in the first.
There, you know what? I think I'm going to write an article about the Howling franchise. I'm going to rewatch them all and write an article and saying that there are because like if you think about werewolves in general and how there are so many different werewolf movies with different werewolf rules and the cursed werewolf, the
hmm
all the different bipedal, quadpedal, all that shit. Like
hmm
that's because that they're just different werewolf cultures, just like different tribes of Native Americans or in African tribes and shit like that or whatever. It's just like that. They're you know
Yeah,
different species also. I mean, how many different species of dogs are there? You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So it's
yeah.
just kind of the same idea. I feel like I take it back. I'm not going to write
I
an
was
article.
actually
It's too much work.
that was it's kind of like the basis for a story that I'm writing, uh, where you have all the different types of werewolves in the same world. They're just different breeds.
And
There's
that's why that's the thing that can connect the Howling movies is they're all just
yeah,
different breeds.
yeah,
And that's
but
kind of
like
what I was saying when I joined was their breed is based off that Tasmanian tiger thing,
yeah,
where the one from the first Howling are different, and then maybe the Sturba's pack or whatever is a different breed from the first movie,
yeah, well,
the cult or whatever.
yeah. It's funny that we're talking about that because one of Jorhan's comments was the Howlin' is a strange movie franchise overall. Every entry is so different.
Yep.
Yeah, and it is a franchise where you don't. I mean, not even with part two. for me, like I can just watch them out of order anytime. You know what I mean? Like they're not dependent on each other at all.
Nope.
So it is basically like an anthology.
Exactly, and that's why I was like, watching that. I didn't like. I wasn't as it wasn't as hard to watch it, like after watching 1 and 2, because like I really do like 2. I know it's not great, but we also got that kick-ass Babel song. So you know,
It's an
but
amazing
anyway,
song.
uh, go on with the comments. Got to get the Peacemaker.
Oh, that's right. Um, uh, Billy Judd asks if we have seen American Wolf in London.
Absolutely,
It's my favorite
absolutely.
horror film of all time.
Yep,
Yeah,
yours, yeah, but it's great. It's the best horror. It's the best hands down the best werewolf horror film of all time. Period.
yeah, yeah. I'm almost on comments here. So John says, off topic, I want Howling 8, ignoring Reborn, or Howling 9 with Reborn included, an anthology film under the Howling name.
That'd
Yeah,
be cool.
I mean, again, none of the films have really been dependent on each other. I know 7 does attempt to connect everything before it, uh, and I give it credit for that, even though it's a god awful movie.
And
And 1
that's
and
the
2 are
only credit
connected,
it
but
gets, right?
yeah, that movie is that's a train wreck. But yeah, I mean,
It's short water.
it's been years since they announced there was supposed to be a Howlin' reboot from Andy Muschietti, and
Yeah, it's
I'm
been about 5 or 6 years, isn't it?
yep, and I'm actually kind of grateful that nothing's happened with that because I don't really like him. John says it's always been a mixed bag franchise. An anthology film would work. Do something scary, something weird, something else. 3 very different werewolf movies would be a nice reflection of the previous type of movies in the franchise over the place. That's true. John says yes, a sequel to Howling 3. Imagine that. Someone comes in and just does a sequel to Howling 3.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Like you remember, I don't know if you remember, we had Vince DeSanti on one time, and his one of his ideas for the new direction for Friday the 13th was to do sequels of each movie, not sequels to the original movies, like per se, but like do a direct sequel to part 2, which 3 really is, but like a different sequel or a sequel directly after it. Like it's hard to say that because of 1, 2, and 3 and 4 all take place within a period together. But like, what if they did a direct sequel to 5 that wasn't Jason Lives, or a direct sequel to Jason Lives that wasn't the part? So you know what I'm saying? Like
I think
he
that's
came up with that idea. What if we did that with the Howling? Like
yeah.
we got a direct sequel to Marsupials, a direct sequel to Rebirth. You know, like I think that could be fun.
It could, and actually, that's going to the Friday 13th side. That's a novel idea for that, especially to do it as a fan film,
Yeah,
because you can actually take a chance, and you don't really have to worry about the fans so much. Like if a big studio did it and it's official, they may be pissed off. But you do a fan
yeah,
film where you're like, okay, we're gonna follow part 5 with this direction that we are originally going to do, with Tommy being the killer and this kind of continuing this passing of the torch of the Friday 13th franchise.
yeah.
Uh,
Because they like set things up in those movies and never delivered on a lot of things. Well,
yeah.
Halloween 4, I'd like to see a different sequel to that than 5. You know,
Oh
that'd be
yeah.
a fun episode to talk about sequels that should have happened or some shit like that.
Yeah. John says Halloween 5 is my favorite Halloween sequel. Yeah, that's mine too. Like hands down. Again, I like 2 a lot as well. I actually like part 6 quite a bit, but
Freaks.
5, yeah,
I think
5
Freaks is the
is
most well known.
yeah. 5 is just the setting, the whodunit mystery, the score, the characters. Like is
There's a
just
gothic vibe to it.
yeah, yeah, and You know, a lot of people hate who the werewolf turns out to be, but I thought it was fucking hilarious. But that's just my opinion. Billy says Bad Moon is also a good werewolf film. Yep.
Yep. Oh yeah, absolutely. Maybe the best of the '90s.
It's the best werewolf film of the '90s, hands
Yeah.
down.
I mean, I'd have to look at a list, but I'm almost certain it's the best one of the '90s.
There's not very many good ones in the
Well,
90s.
you have Jack Nicholson's movie Wolf.
Yeah.
The American Werewolf in Paris, which is not very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably is. Bad Moon's good though, regardless of it being the best week decade.
Yeah. Sean Donnelly gives us this.
Good.
John says,
Hold on, before you get that comment, here's something weird. So we're going to be talking about subspecies, right, next week.
"Oh, okay."
Did you forget?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm doing this weekend. I'm gonna watch a bunch of them this weekend. But like, who made the subspecies movies?
Full Moon.
Okay, why did they make a fucking werewolf franchise?
I've been wondering that same goddamn thing for so
They
long.
had the perfect name up for their, like, how the fuck does a company called Full Moon not make a werewolf franchise?
I actually,
a great vampire franchise, but not a werewolf franchise. Come on.
yeah, I did a search because I think around the time I first started watching the subspecies films, because I was like, this company had to have started with a werewolf movie, right?
Right. Nope.
Nope.
What a missed opportunity. We should write them a letter, and you should get your werewolf story made into a movie with Full Moon.
Yeah.
I mean, they made Corona zombies, for God's sakes.
Right?
Yeah.
You could have a special cameo from Radu.
That'd be awesome. Tie it together.
Tie it all together, buddy.
I'd be all into that.
Yep. John says, or TV series with episodes as sequels to previous films and don't need necessarily require the viewer to see the films they're given soul now, but still fit in canon. Yeah. Howling 5 cover art is my favorite with the practical fronts. Blah, 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 can't speak. Practical effects front and center, even if it was only on the cover. Yeah. The only thing, I'll save my thoughts on Howling 5 for a couple weeks from now.
I may come back for that one.
You're welcome anytime, my friend.
I know. I may come back for that one because I do really like that one a lot.
Yeah.
And plus, it gives me an excuse to rewatch it.
Yeah. Here you go, Ray. Scott Walker says, "Hey Seth, how you doing? Ray, I absolutely did not like this werewolf movie, The Howling III. It was racially offensive towards Australians. We did not like it. Even our, so I guess Howling III is offensive to Australians.
Really?
I did.
It's made by an Australian.
It's funny. I remember Scott bringing that up before. It's weird. But anyway, gonna call it a night. Gotta go watch some Peacemaker. So those are our thoughts on Howling 3. A mess of a film with nuggets of good ideas, bad effects, bad score, one or two likable characters, a weird tone, no horror, no real good werewolf action, but not the worst in the franchise. So, Ray, any last words?
I think, like, if I could just sum this movie up in 2 words, pure cinema.
Pure cinema.
Pure cinema.
Martin Scorsese, probably.
Martin, exactly.
Have a good night, man.
Have a good one, bud.
All right.